Battle of the Azure Seas, 1816. Location, off the coast of Madeira, Atlantic Ocean. Background. In this alternate timeline, where the Napoleonic Wars extend into 1816, the French Empire remains a formidable force. Napoleon's ambitions continue to threaten European stability. The Portuguese Navy, bolstered by their alliance with Britain and their strategic positions in the Atlantic, is determined to protect their territories and disrupt French naval operations. The French, seeking to cut off Portuguese trade routes and assert dominance over the Atlantic, dispatch a powerful fleet to challenge Portuguese control near Madeira, an essential waypoint for transatlantic navigation. The battle, June 14, 1816, dawn. The Portuguese fleet, under the command of Admiral Juan de Almeida, patrols the waters off the coast of Madeira. Mist hangs low over the sea, the rising sun casting a golden glow on the horizon. Suddenly, lookouts aboard the Infante Dom Enrique spot the silhouettes of the approaching French fleet. Admiral Almeida quickly orders his ships into a defensive formation. Morning. As the fleets close in, the tension mounts. The French, led by Admiral Henri Broussard on l'Empereur Napoleon, intend to break the Portuguese line and scatter their forces. The first cannon fire erupts from l'Empereur Napoleon, a deafening roar that signals the start of the battle. The Portuguese respond in kind, their cannons booming across the waves. NRP Infante Dom Enrique engages l'Empereur Napoleon directly, the two flagships exchanging fierce broadsides. The air fills with smoke and the acrid smell of gunpowder. Splintered wood and debris rain down as cannonballs find their marks. Despite the Portuguese sailors' skillful maneuvering, l'Empereur Napoleon begins to gain the upper hand, its superior firepower and more experienced crew proving decisive. Midday, NRP Vasco da Gama and Le Vengeur lock into a deadly dance, their cannons firing relentlessly. The sea churns with the intensity of their engagement. Afternoon. As the battle rages on, the tide begins to turn decisively in favor of the French. NRP Infante Dom Enrique, despite its crew's valiant efforts, sustains heavy damage. Its masts are shattered and fires break out on deck. Admiral Almeida is forced to order a desperate retreat, but the French press their advantage mercilessly. NRP Vasco da Gama, isolated and heavily outgunned, is pounded into submission by Le Vengeur. The Portuguese ship strikes its colors as the French board and capture it. NRP São Rafael, now heavily damaged, attempts to flee, but is pursued and eventually overtaken by L'Aigle. Evening. As the sun sets, the battered Portuguese fleet limps away, their morale shattered by the devastating defeat. The waters around Madeira are littered with the wreckage of battle, a grim testament to the ferocity of the engagement. Admiral Broussard, standing triumphantly on the deck of l'Empereur Napoleon, surveys the scene with satisfaction. Aftermath. The Battle of the Azure Seas becomes a celebrated victory for the French Navy, bolstering their morale and solidifying their control over the Atlantic routes. The Portuguese, suffering a significant setback, are forced to reconsider their naval strategies. This engagement demonstrates the dominance and tactical prowess of the French fleet, marking a turning point in the prolonged conflict of the Napoleonic Wars. The Epilogue. In the days following the battle, the Portuguese government is thrown into turmoil. The defeat at sea becomes a rallying cry for both reformists and radicals within the country. Amidst this political chaos, a shocking event unfolds that will change the course of history. The Assassination. On the evening of July 1st, 1816, Prime Minister Francisco de Borja Garçon Stockler is found dead in his study. a single gunshot wound to the temple. A hastily written note beside him reads, "The nation's honor stained, I could not bear to see it fall further." Initial reports suggest suicide, a tragic end for a man overwhelmed by the catastrophic defeat and the ensuing political pressure. However, as investigators delve deeper, inconsistencies in the scene raise suspicions of foul play. Whispers of assassination circulate through the halls of power. Evidence begins to surface linking radical factions within the government to the fatal shot. The note, once thought to be a final testament of despair, is revealed to be a forgery crafted to cover up a brutal power grab.